In the stillness of a late night in Arlington, Virginia, the streets were quiet, illuminated only by the faint glow of streetlights and the occasional passing car. Sarah Mitchell drove her sleek black SUV through the suburban neighborhood, her hands steady on the wheel. It was just past midnight, and her sharp eyes caught the glint of a stop sign at a quiet intersection. A seasoned operative, Sarah's instincts were honed from years in high-stakes environments. She came to a complete stop, then turned left, her mind already shifting to the next phase of her covert assignment, which was nearing its end. Suddenly, red and blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror, accompanied by the piercing wail of a siren. Sarah's pulse didn't quicken. She was trained for this. Her mind sharpened, her breathing steady. She pulled over, turned off the engine, and reached for her license and registration. Two officers emerged from the patrol car behind her, their navy blue uniforms crisp under the streetlights. The taller officer, John Harris, approached with an authoritative stride, while his shorter, stockier partner, David Reynolds, followed closely. Their badges gleamed as they neared. "Good evening, ma'am," Harris said, his voice laced with practiced authority. He shone a flashlight into her window, the beam sweeping across her face. "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Sarah met his gaze evenly. "No, officer. I wasn't speeding, and I stopped at the intersection." Harris's lips twitched into a condescending smile. "You failed to stop at that sign back there. That's a moving violation." Sarah's brow furrowed slightly, but her composure held. "I'm certain I stopped, officer," she said firmly. "License and registration," Harris interrupted, his tone hardening. Sarah handed over her documents, her movements deliberate. Harris scrutinized them, noting her Virginia plates and local address. "You live around here?" "Yes," Sarah replied, her voice steady. Reynolds, lingering near the rear of her SUV, called out, "Hey, Harris, you might want to check this out." Harris handed back Sarah's documents and joined his partner at the trunk. Through her side mirror, Sarah saw them exchange a conspiratorial glance, a flicker of unease sparking in her chest, not fear, but a warning. Moments later, Harris returned, his expression grim. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am." "May I ask why?" Sarah's voice remained calm. "We have reason to believe you're in possession of illegal substances," Harris said, his tone clipped, almost rehearsed. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Illegal substances? You've made a mistake." "We'll see about that," Harris replied, gesturing for her to exit. Reynolds lifted her trunk, revealing a small, unmarked bag sitting conspicuously near the edge. "Well, what do we have here?" Reynolds said with mock surprise. "A bag of powdery goodness." Sarah's gaze flicked to the bag, then back to the officers, her face unreadable. Her mind raced. She hadn't placed that bag there. This was a setup. "Anything you want to tell us?" Harris asked, smirking. Sarah's lips curved into a faint, calculated smile. "I'll save my comments for the appropriate setting." Harris chuckled, mistaking her calm for arrogance. "You're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute." As Reynolds cuffed her, Sarah's gaze remained steady, her voice soft but intense. "You're making a big mistake." "Yeah, we'll see," Harris said, leading her to the squad car. As they drove away, Sarah gazed out the window, her mind already mapping her next moves. These officers thought they'd scored an easy arrest, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. The ride to the station was tense, the silence broken only by the hum of the engine and the crackle of the police radio. Sarah sat in the back seat, her hands cuffed, her expression neutral. Streetlights cast fleeting shadows across her face, but her focus remained sharp. Harris glanced at her in the rearview mirror, smirking. "You don't seem worried." Sarah met his eyes through the mirror. "Should I be?" Harris chuckled. "You're either brave or stupid. I've seen plenty act tough, but it doesn't last long in a cell." Sarah didn't respond. She knew men like Harris arrogant, bending rules for their own gain. For now, she let him think he was in control. That illusion wouldn't last. At the station, the fluorescent lights glared off scuffed linoleum floors. Harris and Reynolds led Sarah inside, announcing their big catch to the night shift officers lounging at their desks. Reynolds tossed the bag onto the counter with a theatrical flourish. "Caught her red-handed," he said. "Looks like she's been running more than stop signs." Sarah remained silent, scanning the room cameras, desks, the casual camaraderie among officers. It was a small station, a place where secrets were shared quietly. At the fingerprinting station, Harris removed her cuffs. A younger officer, Michael Turner, processed her, his tired eyes hesitating as he glanced at her. "Name?" he asked. "Sarah Mitchell," she replied evenly. "Occupation?" "Consultant," Sarah said, vague but truthful. Turner nodded, his unease evident, but Harris and Reynolds laughed, oblivious, enjoying their moment. "Do I get a phone call?" Sarah asked, her voice cutting through their laughter. Harris's smugness faltered briefly. "You've got a smart mouth," he said. "Let's see how funny you are after a night in lockup." Sarah's cell was cold, the metal bench offering no comfort. The bars cast long shadows, and the hum of fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Harris lingered, watching her with curiosity and disdain. "You don't look like the type to get mixed up in this," he said. "But the courts love a sob story. Maybe they'll go easy on you." Sarah tilted her head, her gaze locking onto his. "Or maybe they'll see through yours." Her words carried a quiet intensity that made Harris shift uncomfortably before he walked away. Alone, Sarah leaned back against the wall, exhaling slowly. Her next steps had to be precise. She wasn't just fighting for her freedom, she was about to expose a web of corruption. Her absence would be noticed soon, and her team would find her. For now, she played the part of the calm detainee, gathering details, the officers' routines, the station's layout, the faint beeps of computers. Every piece mattered. In the break room, Harris and Reynolds sipped coffee, laughing. "She thinks she's untouchable," Reynolds said. Not even a flicker of panic. "That'll change," Harris replied, smirking. "She's just another name in the system. Nobody's digging too deep." Neither noticed Turner lingering nearby, his face pale. Something about the arrest didn't sit right with him. The bag was too convenient, Sarah's demeanor too calm. But questioning senior officers was risky, so he kept quiet. Sarah waited in her cell, her patience honed from years in the field. Hidden in her jacket's hem was a small tracker, standard for CIA operatives. She pressed it subtly, sending a silent signal to her team. They'd know what to do. She closed her eyes, not to sleep, but to focus. The storm was coming, and she was its quiet center. By dawn, a pale light filtered into Sarah's cell. She hadn't moved much, sitting upright, her mind sharp. The station buzzed with morning activity as the day's shift began. Reynolds appeared at her cell, clipboard in hand, smirking. "Morning, sunshine. Sleep okay? Or was the cot not 5-star enough?" Sarah met his gaze, her silence unsettling him. He shifted, glancing at his clipboard. "Bail hearings this afternoon, but judges here don't take kindly to drug traffickers." "Good to know," Sarah replied softly. Reynolds frowned, his confidence wavering, before walking away. Sarah leaned back, noting the cracks in their facade. She just needed a little more time. At the front desk, Turner watched Reynolds leave, his unease growing. Sarah's calm wasn't normal for someone facing serious charges. The arrest report felt too tidy: failure to stop, nervous behavior, consent to search, drugs found. It was scripted. Turner pulled up Sarah's file, a local address, Virginia plates, and an employment gap listed as independent consultant. Something didn't add up. In a nondescript office across town, a phone buzzed. "Signal received," a calm voice said. "Location confirmed. Deploying resources." Sarah's team was mobilizing, watching live feeds from the station's cameras. One screen showed Sarah, still as a statue in her cell. Another showed Turner, visibly agitated. "The kid's starting to crack," an agent observed. "Good," the team leader replied. "We'll use it." Back at the station, Turner paced near the cells, his doubt growing. He stopped outside Sarah's cell. "Miss Mitchell," he said, hesitating. "Did you really consent to the search?" Sarah studied him, seeing the cracks in his resolve. "What do you think, Officer Turner?" "I'm just doing my job," he stammered. "That's what they're counting on," Sarah replied, her gaze steady. Turner flushed, retreating, but her words lingered. He returned to his desk, pulling up Harris and Reynolds' past cases. The pattern was clear: minor violations escalating to drug charges, mostly targeting people of color. The knot in his chest tightened. Sarah watched Turner's shadow pass her cell, sensing his conflict. She shifted subtly, ensuring her movements caught his eye. "You've seen something, haven't you?" she said as he paused. "Something that doesn't add up." Turner swallowed hard. "I can't." "You know what I mean," Sarah pressed. What are you going to do about it? Turner walked away, but her words followed him. At his desk, he stared at the case files, his resolve solidifying. He opened a secure email, attaching the files with a note. To whom it may concern, there's something wrong in this station. Please help. He hit send, his heart pounding. In the break room, Harris sipped coffee. Notice Turner acting weird? He asked Reynolds. Kid's always weird, Reynolds replied. What's he gonna do, rat us out? Keep an eye on him, Harris said, his eyes narrowing. Last thing we need is a rookie poking around. That afternoon, a black sedan pulled into the station's lot. 3 FBI agents stepped out, their badges gleaming. Let's make this clean, the leader, Agent Robert Hayes, said. No unnecessary disruptions. Inside, the station fell silent as the agents entered. Hayes approached the desk, his voice clipped. Federal investigation. We need access to your records and holding cells. The desk sergeant hesitated but complied. Turner watched, his palms sweaty, knowing his email had triggered this. Harris and Reynolds, near the break room, exchanged tense whispers, their laughter gone. Hayes and his team set up in an interrogation room, plugging into the station's network. Plenty here, a tech agent said, scanning files. Repeated arrests, identical narratives, procedural gaps. This is systemic. Pull everything, Hayes ordered. Every record tied to Harris and Reynolds. In her cell, Sarah sensed the shift. Her team was here. She stood as an agent opened her cell door. Miss Mitchell, you're free to go. She nodded, stepping out, the station's weight lifting. As Sarah passed Turner's desk, their eyes met. Thank you, she said quietly. Turner nodded, gripping his desk, feeling a sense of purpose for the first time. In the interrogation room, Harris and Reynolds sat stiffly as Hayes slid photos across the table, security footage showing them with the bag before Sarah's car was searched. These timestamps tell a different story, Hayes said. And we have audio from Miss Mitchell's surveillance device. You can't use that, Reynolds sputtered. That's entrapment. It's justice, Hayes replied. And we've reviewed your past cases. Dozens follow this pattern. You're not walking out today. Harris's bravado crumbled, and Reynolds buried his face in his hands. In the bullpen, Turner watched, his hands trembling. He'd confirmed details for Hayes earlier, feeling the weight of his colleagues' glares. Sarah stood at the station's entrance, watching Harris and Reynolds let out in cuffs, their confidence shattered. Hayes approached her. We've got everything we need. Your work's done. Good, Sarah said. Make it stick. As she stepped outside, the crisp air hit her face. The storm had broken, and justice was served. The fallout was swift. Harris and Reynolds' arrests dominated headlines. Police corruption exposed. FBI takes down dirty cops. Their faces looped on screens, their arrogance gone. Charges against Sarah were dropped, and their past cases were reopened. The station faced an overhaul, with resignations piling up. Weeks later, Sarah sat on a park bench, coffee in hand, autumn leaves rustling around her. Hayes joined her. You could have handled this differently, he said. Sarah smirked. And missed their faces? No thanks. Hayes chuckled. They sat in silence, the weight of their work momentarily lifted. The news spread, sparking reform and community rallies. Sarah's name stayed out of the spotlight, her focus on results, not fame. Months later, Harris and Reynolds pled guilty in court, receiving lengthy sentences. Their careers were over, their lies unraveled. Turner, now a whistleblower, faced mixed reactions but held his head high. In a quiet diner, he met Sarah. I wasn't sure you'd show, he admitted. You earned this, Sarah said. Not many would have done what you did. It made a difference to you, Turner said, conflicted. But the department's still a mess. It made a difference to those they hurt, Sarah replied. And to you. Don't underestimate that. What's next for you? Turner asked. Sarah leaned back, her expression unreadable. The next mission. There's always another fight. As Sarah stepped into the evening air, a dossier awaited her next assignment. The phone buzzed Hayes' voice. Ready for the next one? Always, Sarah said, the door clicking shut behind her. The truth had prevailed, and for now, that was enough.